This is a video primarily to substitute for class on Wednesday morning for Section A, but I think this would be good review for Section C and E as well. So if you find yourself here and from one of those sections, that's fine as well. I want to think first about why we're doing research with this project. There isn't much emphasis on research in the assignment sheet. It is mentioned at the bottom where it says next you'll develop or find through research a theory or reason for the design of these ads. More importantly is the fact that this is an academic project, and if you're doing an academic project, remember that we've talked about you need to know what the academic conversation is already before you can enter that. And so that's the primary reason for the research for this project. I hope that you will be citing from your sources in a literature review perhaps at the beginning, or perhaps to explain your conclusion at the end. Note here that I've asked you to conclude your essay with a discussion of your results, the results of your inquiry. What does this information mean for consumers, for scholars? So of course you have to know that scholarly conversation that's going on, and in many cases for parents. I want to go back and look then at some of the search terms that you can use. I'm going to use the example of cosmetics. So the way you're going to build your search will primarily be through the type of product and adding to that one of these other terms such as advertising, advertisement, marketing, promotion. So most people in my other classes in Section C and E were finding things that were related to by using the terms advertising and advertisement. So you may not have to go to marketing or promotion, but that can broaden your ads, and I'll show you an example search a little bit later. You could extend this by adding the type of publication. So you could have the product type, so for example, magazine ads of light trucks, and promotion. Maybe I want to use the word promotion instead of advertisement. So you can expand that search either within a single search box, or if you have an advanced search box, you can put some of these terms in different search boxes. There's also the use of Boolean terms. If you're using Academic Search Complete, there are some drop-down menus that allow you to use this, or you can just type the word in. So cosmetic advertising includes many articles on cosmetic surgery. I think there were about 122 ads altogether. I may not have the number quite correct, but when I added not surgery, that Boolean operator, it dropped it down to 75, which is a reasonable number. Even 120 is a reasonable number, but 75 makes my search a little bit more focused. So I want to go over to the library database here, if I can find that. Now I'm going to recommend you start off with Academic Search Complete. Of course, you know you go to the databases website, and then you can go to the A's, Academic Search Complete. I've already got this up here. When you do your search, I want to recommend that you click on this button, the Scholarly Peer Review Journals, right away, so that will limit it automatically. So if I do cosmetics, cosmetic advertising, and 112. But notice that the multimodal suggests this is going to include video. Multimodal tends to include video or audio or or internet. I'm using sexual appeals and advertising. Now, another thing to be aware of is time frame and where these things where they're appearing. This one, a content analysis from 86 to 2007, is relevant, but notice it has cosmetic surgery. So again, if I add in that not surgery, this is going to kick our number back down to 75. Now we don't necessarily, if you don't find your ideal article or articles in the first few results, that's okay. We've got 4 pages of results we can go through, but notice we have limited it. Now as we go down, we start to notice that these are tied to specific places: Nigeria, Hong Kong. There was one about India, Bulgaria. These may not be as appropriate, but we can keep going. A European cross-cultural. So promotional claims, this might be relevant. Cross-cultural analysis of women's magazines advertising. So we start to see things that are more relevant here. Now notice that if you do find something that you want, but you don't see a link to full text or you don't see a PDF, you see Find It, this will look across all of the databases in the library. So you don't want to click on full text with your search. And now we can go to this database and we should find this article. We'll see what happens. And it's going pretty slow right now. So I'm going to go, oh, here we go. And here's the article. So make sure you're looking for this Find It button. So even if you are in Academic Search Complete, you're not being limited just to articles in this database, because you do have this Find It button for something that may be in another database. If it's not in another database, you can also search it through Interlibrary Loan, and there will be a link up here, up around this section of the page. The first time you go into it, you'll have to fill out some information, such as your phone number, possibly address, your status as an undergraduate, plus the department that your major is in. Then you may have to click on that link a second time, and then it'll automatically populate all of the information for that article. So all you have to do is you'll go to the bottom of the page and there'll be a link to click. If you have any questions about this, you can always contact the library, of course. Some other databases you might consider using are JSTOR. We've talked about that before. CQ Researcher is a database that deals with current events, and it's many of those are scholarly journals as well. And Google Scholar is also a possibility. And when you're using Google Scholar on campus, it will link you to the library databases. For Academic Search Complete, you can click on that Scholarly Articles box. If you've already searched and you didn't click it before you searched, you can always click it here. In other databases, you want to look for titles that indicate an affiliation with a professional field, or for the word journal in the publication title. These will almost always be academic journals then. If you have any additional questions on that, of course, you can always email me as well, or you can contact the library. In the Writing Manual for Digital Age, I wanted to point out that there is a distinction between a research log and notes for your source. I am not requiring you to turn in notes for your project. This is something that you will need to do for yourself. You do need to put the material from sources in your own words, or you need to quote them accurately and put those in quotation marks, cite them correctly. But I want to talk here about note-taking versus a research journal. What I want you to do for Monday or Tuesday, if you're in section C or E, is to send me an email that has the name of your article, and send this to me before class. It can be right before class. Name of an article, as well as the journal and the author, and describe how it will be useful for your essay. You should try to do any research that you're going to do. So maybe find a couple of articles on this topic, read those over the weekend, so that when you come in Monday, we can start building the thesis statement, we can start talking about organization. You also have some readings from the Composition of Everyday Life that give you some more terms such as lighting, angle, vantage point for talking about images. And then in the Composition of Everyday Life, there is also some information on note-taking. So going back to Research Journal, I kind of skipped over that. I want you to do a log entry for a research journal. Send that to me by email about one of your articles. You can read more than one article, you can use more than one article, but just send me a research journal for one article before class. And basically, again, you're describing how this will be useful for your essay. Note-taking shows up on pages 123 to 125. So if you want to see the distinction between those, review those pages. The research journal images in your book actually look like a notepad on an iPhone. And so a research journal is something you can do on an iPhone, but you do need to email that to me, of course. I will also put that information on this information will also be on the blog, which you will have seen when you clicked on this. There's some additional information on online research in Writing for Manual Age. This is on pages 144 to 160. And those are all my notes. So I hope this helped out. This is, again, to make up for the missed class for Section A on Thursday. If this brought up questions that you have, then please be sure to email me, and I will see you on Monday.